everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda. I am YarnderWoman on both Ravelry and Instagram, and today is Saturday the 17th of January 2015, and I'm coming to you as always from lovely Perth in Western Australia. I hope everyone's had a great couple of weeks since we last saw each other. It's been really hot here on a lot of days, over 100 Fahrenheit. We've been up in the high 30s. One day we had 43 degrees Celsius. I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit. It was a horrible day. I'm so grateful for air conditioning in our home and at my workplace. Very grateful. I don't deal with the heat very well. But anyway, I have still been able to do some knitting because most of the yarns I'm using at the moment are fingering weight, plus the air conditioning does help, so that's quite nice. So I will now get everything started with broaching the subject. Today's brooch isn't showing up so well on the video, so that was a photo of it that I've just inserted beforehand. It's by a seller on Etsy, Luella and Toots, and she actually hand paints the brooch designs. And she's based over in, I believe it's New South Wales, which is on the east coast of Australia. It's the other side from where I am. Unfortunately, there's no items in her shop at the moment, but the shop is still live. So I think if you were interested, you could definitely drop her a line and see what she's working on. As well as brooches, she had cards and other little knick-knack items, and very talented and really reasonable prices. So I definitely recommend. And you know, it's a bunny, so how can you go wrong? It's very cute. Prizes this week, we drew for our 900 member giveaway, and we're very lucky to have donated a prize from the Kicks and Giggles shop on Etsy, which is beautiful project bags. And the prize was a $25 gift voucher to use in the shop, so you had to choose anything that's in there. And the number was drawn by random.org as always, and it was number 69, who is Knitting for Life, who is Aletha from Detroit. So congratulations, Aletha. If you want to get in touch with me once you've watched this, and then I will put you in touch with the lovely ladies at Kicks and Giggles, and you can choose your prize. Now, very sorry for everyone who didn't win, but we do luckily have a discount code that you can use in the Kicks and Giggles Etsy shop until the end of January. Just use the code YarnderWoman at checkout and you'll get 10% off. And go for your life, because there are so many cool things in there. I think there's made to order as well, so it's not just what's in stock. So happy shopping. So you may notice that I'm wearing an item of knitwear, and this is the Lehua, which is of course the item that we're knitting for our knit-along. So our knit-along is going from the 10th of January until the end of February, so you've got quite a while to work on it. And it's actually a very quick project. So the Lehua scarfette is designed by the wonderful Mel, who is Mski Knits, and she has the blog withmel.com, which is actually where the pattern for this is to be found. So I knit this quite quickly. It was over a few days, but that's because I was only working a little bit at the time, whereas some of the people have already finished their items for the cowl and they got them done like that. So it really is something I think you could do within an afternoon or over the course of a day, or take your time with it because there's no rush and it's all meant to be fun. It's also very versatile. As you can see, I'm wearing it tied like a necktie scarf. Not scarf, tie, a necktie tie. But you can wear it like a scarf, or you can tie it to the side or loop it around your neck a few times. Really lovely. And it's a beautiful pattern. I'll just come a little bit closer. So you've got, so it's mirrored on both sides, and you've got some gorgeous texture stitch with slip stitches, some garter stitch, and then some dropped yarn overs here. It's really lovely, very fun pattern to knit as well, very great construction. I'll just untie it so I can show it to you all stretched out. And I was saying in the chatter thread on Ravelry that I was a bit disappointed with my sewing techniques. You have to sew some pieces on. So you can see there, unfortunately what's happened, because this yarn is, let me get out the tag, it's not in the bag. So the yarn is Handmaidens, and it's the base C3, which is 30% silk and 70% merino. And because it's an Aran weight, and it seems that I split the yarn at some point stitching it on, so the white undyed part is showing through. So it looks a bit, it sort of highlights the lumpy, but whatever, I don't mind that much. That's totally my sewing technique. That's nothing to do with the yarn or the pattern. And the way that I would probably be wearing the Lehua, you won't notice it anyway, so it's fine. So as you can see, you could just wear it like that. You you can tie it one side. You can do all sorts of things with it. So it's very versatile, very fun knit. So I really, really recommend you join us for our knit along because it's just a great item that you'll end up with. Now, as I've said, you don't have to make red, though a lot of people have, which is very cool, but not everyone has, so it's fine. So there is no colour requirements, whatever you want to knit is fine. And as well as getting a beautiful end product and having a great time knitting, you can also win some prizes as part of our knit along. So we have 2 prizes going at the moment, though we might have some more. We might have another donated prize, so just watch this space on that. But the prizes we have, there'll be 1 drawn from the finished object thread, and there'll also be 1 drawn from the chatter thread. So come along, join in. That means even if you don't finish your project, if you're chatting along and participating, because it's about that sense of community, if you're participating, you can still be up for a winning prize. So the prizes we've got, beautiful things we've got from White Birch Fibre Arts. It's a little bit washed out because I've got the window behind me, but this is the colourway. Nothing says screw you like a rainbow. Oh, trust me, that's what it says. And this is self-striping, and it's got a rainbow stripe with pale blue in between. And you'll also get a little keychain and tattoo from No Makers. And the other prize is a beautiful bag from Suburban Stitcher. That's the top of the bag there. That's the top, and it's beautiful butterflies. And as well, a little keychain from No Makers and a tattoo. So those are our prizes. So do come and join us. The threads are in the YarnderWoman podcast group on Ravelry. There's 2 separate ones, Finished Objects and Chatter. So come along and participate. Finished objects. Obviously, number 1 is my lahua, which, look, another way to wear it. You see, it's very versatile. But the other thing I finished is something that I started back in November, I believe, and that was my little ankle length vanilla socks in my candy cane stripes. So this is made with Stray Cat sock yarn in the self-striping colourway candy cane. And you can also buy coordinating solid colours from Stray Cat, and so I did the toe and the heel in the solid red, and that way I could just leave my stripes as they were. These were knit on 2.5mm needles, and the Fish Lips Kiss heel, that's what I was going to say. So the rest is just a vanilla pattern. I think I did a 2x2 rib and then Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is my favourite heel. Now, something I wanted to ask you, because what I've sort of found with my socks is I do for myself 60 stitches, 2.5mm needles, which I believe is a 1.5 in US sizes, and that I seem to have found has been the right fit for me, because previously I had made a few at 64 and even 66 stitches, and they were just too loose, like they'd slide down. If I was wearing a looser shoe that didn't grip around the ankle, they'd totally slide under my foot. So those I've given to my mum because she's got a slightly wider foot than me, so at least they're going to good home. So I found 60 stitches and a couple of other pairs seemed to be working. Now, with these, I think it's a thinner yarn, just like it's still fingering weight, but obviously fingering weight can be quite varied. And I found with these, I've worn them twice now, and I get that really lumpy feeling when you wear the socks. So I'm wondering if the gauge is too loose because it's a thinner yarn and I used the 2.5mm needle, whether that means that the size, you know, fits my foot, but the gauge is so loose when it stretches on my foot, that stretches the stitches out and then I feel all the lumpy bits rather than it remaining as a fabric. Does that make sense? And I wanted to know someone who's a bit more experienced with socks, whether that sounds like it's a thing, because I even tried wearing them one day, wearing them inside out so that the stockinette part was on my foot, and it was a bit better, but I still felt the stitches. So I'm thinking that's what it is. They're stretched out a bit. Because I remember once I made some socks on 2.25mm needles, which I assume is the US one, and I did 66 stitches on the 2.25, and they were way too tight. Like they were ankle socks as well, and the part, like, you know, you've got your heel there, the part around here were just stretched out beyond anything that I could actually wear. So I passed those to my sister-in-law, who's got smaller feet than me, and that was over a year ago, and she still, a lot of times I see her, says how much she loves those socks. So they're obviously a good fit for her. So yes, what should I do? If I was gonna do, still wanting to use 2.5mm needles with a thinner fingering weight yarn, should I cast on more stitches and therefore there's a bit more to go around my foot and they won't pull apart as much. That's my guess. So if anyone has any hints on sock knitting and, you know, needle size, stitch count relating to the different widths of yarn, let me know. I did hear on one of the audio podcasts I'd listened to, and I'm sorry, I've slipped my mind who it was, but they were saying that if you get like a needle gauge and put through your yarn through the hole doubled, the hole that it fits through when it's doubled is the needle size that is a good starting point. So maybe I should try that and see what that gives me. And I guess if it's a smaller needle, I just have to go up a few stitches, but then it might be quite a few more, because the time I tried it with 66 stitches, it was still too small. It's difficult, yeah. So any hints would be very appreciated. And it's a Sockapalooza today because I've also finished my Christmas Eve cast on socks. Woo! So these are knit, I'll show you the coloured side of the sock blocker. These are knit in Fibre Nymph Dye Works, the bounce base, and it's one of the inversible set. So as you can see, one is purple with thin black stripes and this one is black with thin purple stripes, and there are various colours you can get. And this bounce base is just lovely, and this, I haven't worn these yet, so I can't comment fully in comparison with the thinner yarn, but the bounce base is definitely a thicker fingering weight, as in thicker compared to the stray cat yarn, not thicker overall. And in terms of even how they feel when I was knitting it, this seems a bit denser. So I'll have to wear these and then I can do a full comparison. But yes, I'm thinking that that's what's making me think those other ones might have had the gauge too loose. But anyway, let's move on. These, if you can see the beautiful stitch pattern going down here, these are the Swirl E socks by Susie White, who is otherwise known as Prairie Girl Susie from the Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast. And that was a really, really fun pattern to do. I'll definitely be making these again. And you can see the pattern goes down into the foot. And I've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel on these as well. I didn't change my yarn, I just kept knitting, and luckily the striping sequence actually worked out pretty well. I think I started the heel maybe 1 or 2 rows into the colour, so you can see that one's a little bit wider than that one, but you know, overall it works out. So that meant the stripes kept going. I was, you know, I'd sort of reconciled myself to the fact that if they didn't match, I was fine with it, because I was just quite happy just knitting along, going straight into the heel, but it was serendipity, it worked out perfectly. So very, very happy with this project. These were cast on, as I said, on Christmas Eve as part of the Little Bobbins Knits Christmas Eve cast on. So thank you, Danny, for doing that, because it was a good prompt. And these sock blockers are from Tesla Knits on Etsy, and you can get various sizes. So they're just like sort of a Perspex plastic, but they're very good and definitely do the job. So that's those. And I really want to cast on another pair of socks. Anya, who is, oh, I'm going to really get confused on pronouncing your Ravelry name, Lesser Suchtik. Totally wrong pronunciation, I'm sure, but she has started a group on Ravelry called 15 Socks in 2015. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well if you want to go and join. And I hadn't really thought about knitting a specific number of socks, I just wanted to knit quite a few pairs. But I was thinking when she invited me to the group, I thought, well, I've already done 2, you know, granted that they were cast on at the end of 2014, but I finished them in 2015, so I've already got 2 ticked off. I have another pair on the needles, which I'll show you in Works in Progress. So I figure that it's actually possibly doable. If I don't make it, I don't make it. It's just there as a, you know, little prompt. But yeah, so I'm really, really enjoying socks at the moment, and I definitely want to cast another pair. But as I said, I've got one going and I'm resolved to finish those before I do anything else. This is something I finished, though I haven't stitched it up, as you can see. This is a pattern called Circlet, which is a little pattern for a crown. So as you can see, it would go around like that. Now the reason I haven't sewn it up is to do with the fact that it actually pretty much fits me. This is also knit with Debbie Bliss Cash Merino, which is a sport weight, and I wasn't going to block it because it's a crown, but with the little parts here, and it's a free pattern, I wanted to block it just to sort of make it sit flat, but I think it's really grown because it definitely seems longer. So this is a a present for my little niece Emma, who was in the Christmas videos that I had earlier. And this is a, frozen coloured crown to go with her frozen dress she got at Christmas. And I'm actually going to stick on, I've got some like crystal clear buttons that look a bit like an snowflake, icicle, one of those snowy things. We didn't have snow here, it's all new to me. So what I'll do is, it's her birthday next week, I'll take it and give it to her, and then I'll just quickly sew up either at the end where it is, or if I have to take it in a bit, quickly sew it up at the time, and then it'll be all set to go. So very quick pattern, definitely recommend it. And yeah, just an example of blocking and gauge, but who cares, it's fine, it didn't take very long. So even if I do lose a bit at the end, I don't mind. My other finished objects are things that I literally only wound in the ends of and sutured the top up. So I didn't start these recently, but I've got two hats. So the story behind these are, this one I made for my brother a year and a half ago for his birthday. It's knit with Debbie Bliss Cash Merino in two different blues. So I've just done some random stripes, just a 2x2 ribbed hat. It's very nice, but when he put it on, it sort of finished about there, like just at his ears. It looked a bit silly. And he gave it back to me recently and said that, could I, lengthen it basically. So I thought I'll just unpick the cast on, make it longer. But then I thought, well, why don't I just knit him a new hat? It's summer here now anyway, so he won't need it for a little while. And I'll donate this one to charity. It can be a child. My other finished objects are things that I literally only wound in the ends of and sutured the top up. So I didn't start these recently, but I've got two hats. So the story behind these are, this one I made for my brother a year and a half ago for his birthday. It's knit with Debbie Bliss Cash Merino in two different blues. So I've just done some random stripes, just a 2x2 ribbed hat. It's very nice, but when he put it on, it sort of finished about there, like just at his ears. It looked a bit silly. And he gave it back to me recently and said that, could I, lengthen it basically. So I thought I'll just unpick the cast on, make it longer. But then I thought, well, why don't I just knit him a new hat? It's summer here now anyway, so he won't need it for a little while. And I'll donate this one to charity. It can be a child hat. And a similar story with this one. This one is No Makers. I believe it's the DK Jazzy base, and it's the colourway Trick or Treat. It's one of her Halloween colourways. And this as well is a 2x2. This is going to be for Damien. Now, it was going to be for his birthday last June, and I had a public holiday, so I had a whole Monday off, and I cast on in the morning, got to the end by that evening, and I was like, oh, this only took me a day, just one day, how exciting. Put on his head, it was stretched out, like choking the top of his head, and he's like, that feels a bit tight, and the stitches were just, nowhere near each other, and I was just like, I've wasted a whole day. It's like, and I thought, isn't it funny how our perception changes to go from only a day to a whole day? But after I got over the disappointment and the sadness of not being able to give him a hat, I thought, fine, I'll just rip it out, knit a bigger size. But again, put it away, didn't want to think about it. And then I found, and I'll probably finish those off then, because you can use works in progress, and that way the yardage you've already knit counts towards your goal of the 5K of knitting. So we'll see how those go. The one I was thinking of giving as a present to a friend, and her birthday is in June, so I don't know if it'll count. I might have to do it before Stash Sesh, but whatever. They're two projects that I actually really want to finish, which are two shawls. So they're just waiting, and everything else is off the needles. So I'm all set to just go with what I've got. So let's now look at works in progress. Okay, works in progress. So I mentioned earlier I had started another lehua, which I have. And this one I'm using this is Jinx yarn in the Aran, I believe it's Aran or worsted, one of the two. Sorry, I'll check, I'll put it in the show notes. And this is in the colourway One of a Kind number 32. So it's a lovely dusky pink with some bluey purple in it. And I've knit 1/2. So the way the pattern, because it's a free pattern, it's fine that I tell you. You knit the 2 strip parts, then you join them together with some garter in the middle. So you knit them separately. So this is that one, and I just love how that multicolours have come out, especially down here in the stitch. I think it's just beautiful. This one is going to be a present for someone, and that's the beauty of this pattern, and I think that was Mel's thought behind having some of her free patterns that she puts on her blog, is that they're quick things, so it doesn't take too long, so they're really, really good for gifts, and they're stunning. The pattern work, the design is just gorgeous. So this is actually going to be for my new friend, my sister-in-law's friend, who came to lunch at Christmas with us. She was blown away by my knitting, which was really cool, because we got out all my scarves and shawls and things. She wanted to see what I'd made, and she just could not stop saying how wonderful it was. It was lovely. So not from a, as I said last time, not from a head exploding type of thing, just from, it was nice to have knitting be so valued. So I'm going to make this for her. I'm also planning to make some socks for Hikaru, who is the young boy who had learned to knit himself. And for the father, I wasn't sure quite yet, maybe wristies or something, I'm not sure, maybe a coffee cozy. We'll see, there's no deadline for them. It is winter over there at the moment, but when they come into their spring, I think this will still work then, so no rush on that. The project bag I'm using for my lehua is this fantastic one from Silver Shed USA, who generously gave us a prize a few episodes ago, and have actually sent us another prize that we'll use for something. I'll show you that in acquisitions. So this one is the gorgeous, it's like sort of a folk space. Oh, it's just awesome. So Anne, who is the creator behind Silver Shed USA, her daughter is actually Amy from the Stockinette Zombies, and that's where I actually saw this fabric. Occasionally Amy will show some of the new products that Silver Shed USA have out, and as soon as I saw it, I was just straight onto Etsy, I should still have that bag. She does, and she does them as a pre-order, so she'll make them to order. So if you would like one, you can go to the Etsy shop, which I of course will put the link in the show notes, and get your own, because fabulous craftsmanship, padded bag. It's got the lovely this like polka dot sort of honeycomb. Just, it's awesome. This is the, I think she calls it the large, but it's the full one anyway, but you can get a smaller one, I think, where the print is, she tries to put the print on in a way that you still get the cool stuff. So very, very cool. And Damien really likes space and space general. I was trying to think of things, but so it kind of, that's another reason I like it, because it's sort of very me in look, but it's got the spacey things, so it's like me and Damien. So that's work in progress number 1. My second one, this is the one I've been working on the most, is my Seafoam Shawlette to Shrug pattern. That is by Crafts from the Quitch. Now, I apologise if I'm not pronouncing that right. It's C-W-I-T-C-H, so like witch with a C. So I'm not sure if there's a trick way to pronounce that, but sorry. So this is a paid pattern, so I can't obviously show you too much, but I'll try and show you a picture. Let's see. There we go. So I'm knitting this out of skein top drawer sock in the colourway Sterling. It's just beautiful. Hand-dyed yarns just floor me, just so beautiful, the tones, and skein especially, it's so soft. 75% merino, 25% nylon, just so soft. And you can see the beautiful tonal grey, sort of getting a little bit squishy on the needles there, because it's obviously getting bigger as I go along, but isn't that beautiful? It's just so pretty. I can't wait till it's finished. The colour is just divine. And I think that's sort of slowing me down. Do you get that with projects sometimes where you just sort of stop and stare at it and go, oh, so pretty. And you realise, wait, this is knitting time. I could be knitting. Wait till it's finished to admire it. So yes, this has got a few design features of my own. By that I mean I've done some yarn overs in the wrong places. But I don't mind, makes it my own. You know, as long as I guess the yarn overs in this part are right, because I think that would be a bit noticeable if they were all off there. Down the side, I don't care, it's fine. So this is living in the beautiful bag that Julia, 9crafty11 made. Sorry, the colour's washing out a bit. But when I've been taking this as part of my commute, I haven't wanted to take this bag because I have a backpack that I use to get to and from work, and I didn't want to squash this into the bag. So for my commute, I've been using this bag, which is by Tangerine Designs, and it's got cute polka dots inside. So, you know, not my usual colours, but the deer are very cool. If you watched, I think it was episode 11 or 12 of Ichigo Abroad, Sophia and her mum Lisa go to see the deer in Nara in Japan. So this I consider my Japanese deer bag, because in Nara, I've gone blank, one of the islands off the coast of Hiroshima, Miyajima? Yes, possibly. Not that it matters to you, but anyway, just suddenly thought, I can't remember. But anyway, there's all these places where the deer just hang around the town or the city, and you can buy biscuits to feed them, and sometimes they can be a bit aggressive, but generally they're okay. Though I do remember once when I went to Japan when I was about 20, I was just there on a holiday, the deer were just coming at me. I don't know if they hadn't been fed in a while, and it was a little bit drizzly, so I had an umbrella, and I actually had it in front of me like a shield, and all these noses were coming under the umbrella. It was quite a bit, you know, confronting, but that's all right. And also I was wearing a brown skirt, so I wondered if I looked like a deer biscuit, but anyway. So yes, this is my Japanese deer bag, and that's, as I said, been using for my travel. So this, I think I have, I think I've got to increase about another 60 stitches or so before I start doing the next part of the design element. So this has been very good, especially for a commute. It's just, you know, stockinette, so it's nice and easy. So that's the project I'm doing along with Jana, who's Jana Nav. We're doing as a sort of personal buddy cowl. And we're both just working on the same one. This was one where I chose the pattern and the yarn, and it's going really well, so I'm quite pleased with that one. My next work in progress is one I just want to get off the needles and I'm feeling bad about, so I need to get it moving. So you'll recall back in December, I started some socks for Damien for Christmas, which has passed, and they're still not done. Now Damien said he doesn't mind, and it's not like he's, you know, needs them for a certain occasion or anything, but I do feel bad because I want to give him socks and I want to get them done. But the problem is, as you know, or may know, I now prefer to do socks concurrently, so I have two going at the same time because I get a very bad case of second sock syndrome. When I knit this first sock, I decided to hold the yarn double when I did the heel, but I didn't want to split my yarn into two cakes, so I just knit from each end of the ball. But that meant while this sock was on the needle, I couldn't knit the second one because I'd need both ends of the yarn. But I thought, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But now I have such second sock syndrome. First world problems, I know, but still. So the other day, when was it? It must have been on the weekend. I thought, right, just, you know, get on with it. I think once I get to the heel, I'll be okay, because then you're sort of, you know, just on the foot. Though I will say, if you compare a foot of my sock to the foot of Damien's sock, yeah, there's a bit more to do on his socks than on mine. So, as I said, the other day I started and I thought, okay, now I didn't look up my notes, but I had a quick just glance at them, my notes on Ravelry. And what I did on this, because it's just a vanilla sock, again with Fish Lips Kiss Heel, I did knit 3 per 1 rib, and I did, as you can see there, ribbing for the cuff, then I did some just stocking it on the back before starting the heel, and then the ribbing goes all the way down the foot, so you get a nice give. In my notes, I recalled seeing the numbers 2.5. Now, because Fish Lips Kiss Heel is an American pattern, it's all written in inches, which is fine. So in my head I had, okay, in the pattern you knit, or somewhere it said, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I just need to knit 2.5 inches before I start the heel. So I'm knitting away and I'm measuring. I don't remember it being this long, and kept going. And then after a while thought, why don't I look at the first sock? Why didn't I do that in the first place? Because I looked and I'd knit way longer than that little section. And I'm like, what? Look at my notes. I put 2.5 centimeters, because I use centimeters, which is what 1 inch equals. But my mind, I'd confused. It's North American pattern, so it must have been inches I was referring to. No. So I had to rip back, and that made it even worse because I'd been like knitting going, I really don't want to work on this. I really want to do something else. Don't be silly, just do it. You know, the internal monologue that maybe everyone has, maybe it's just me, don't know. Anyway, so I ripped back, just ripped it out. Then had to pick up all the stitches, and with the ribbing, some of them didn't go on right. Then I measured to see how far I'd got. I hadn't ripped back enough. So I'm not learning with this. So since then, it's been sitting in the bag because I just haven't wanted to go back to it. Or a couple of nights I've thought, come on, just get over it, get on with it. But it's been a bit too dark in my craft room because it's a darker yarn. So after I record today, I'm going to fix this sock and I'm going to get going. I'm going to do it. Yeah. Because I really want to give Damien his socks. I'm just scared though that he's going to have the lumpy feeling. I don't think so though, because I think it's a thick enough gauge. But that would be pretty horrible if I give them to him and he puts them on and he goes, oh, they feel lumpy. Ooh. I don't know what I'll do then. But let's think positively that it's not going to happen. So, some details of these socks. I was looking for the tag, haven't got it. Oh, I do. Lorna's Lace is Soulmate. And the colourway is bigger on the inside. Oh gosh, that's just flaring out. Anyway, trust me. So Soulmate is 55% merino, 15% nylon, and 30% Outlast, which is that fibre that controls heat and cool, as I've mentioned before. This is the cake. It's gone a bit weird. And yes, that's the second sock. So this has just highlighted me, this whole experience. A, read your instructions. B, if you know you like to knit concurrently, don't do something that requires you to use two ends of the ball unless you're going to split your cake. And C, I really do get second sock syndrome. It's a thing, people, for me. Good luck to you if you don't get it. In fact, that's awesome if you don't get it. This is Damien's foot. So it's quite good. The bag I've got it in. Sorry, I haven't had any coffee this morning. I think I'm losing it. The bag I have it in is this awesome Batman bag that was made just for me by Yvonne, who is Ganesh on Ravelry. And it's got awesome pockets inside. So that's where my label was living, in one of the pockets. And it's also where I've been putting the finished sock. So it just goes folded up in the little pocket. Just like so, in there. This was in my Homespun House Christmas bag, but last weekend I put all the Christmas decorations away, so I decided that the Christmas project bags had to go away as well. And Batman for Damien goes perfectly, plus the colour matches. So the next work in progress is one I haven't worked on in a while. It's my Cozy Memories blanket, my sock yarn scrap blanket. So I was looking at my Ravelry notes. I started this back in July, I think last year, in 2014. And I worked on it quite a bit then. Well, I say quite a bit, not huge amounts, but I haven't touched it for months and months and months, probably since October. And I can't remember why I decided to do it the other day. I just thought I would. And if you've seen Molly's latest episode of A Homespun House, she recently got back into her memories blanket as well. And she was saying she forgot how to do it, and the same thing happened to me, Molly. I think I had a square I was halfway through, and I was like, what do I do next? And I hadn't written myself clear notes in Ravelry, because why would I do that? But I figured it out luckily. But yeah, it was like, come on, it's a decrease. There must be a way. Because the pattern I've been following is Shelley Kang. She did the original one. And then Joyce, who has the Aussie Yarning podcast, she actually sort of wrote up a bit more of Shelley's original pattern, because Shelley's was written as part of her blog, so it was in amongst blog things, and Joyce got Shelley's permission to write it up as more of a pattern, so I've been referencing the two of those. So this is it. Now, as you can see, and as you may know, depending on if you've seen the episodes when I mentioned it previously, I'm making mine only in reds, purples, greys and blacks. I love the scrappy multicolored ones that everyone's making, but for our home decor, as you can see, these colors really will suit it, you know, no matter what room we're in. It'll probably go in the bedroom or the theatre room. So I'll hold up and show you what I've got. So I've got one big one so far. And oh, this makes me so happy to look at, like those, because they're all my colours. I just love it. It just, oh, happiness is looking at my Cozy Memories blanket because the colours are just beautiful. Now you see this one has a little tag at the end because this is the one I worked on. So what I'm going to do when I work on them, because I'm hoping to do, you know, more than one every so often, is I'll put a little tag on them so I can show you the new ones. This yarn was sent to me by a fibre friend, and I will have to go back and look through my pile of things to see who it was, because I've got quite a bit of yarn sent by some wonderful fibre friends, which is awesome, and I'm always happy to take more. Because yeah, the memories of the yarn I've got, the memories of getting yarn from my fibre friends, people I haven't necessarily met, but they're still my friends that we've met through knitting. And yeah, it's awesome. So I think I've already got knit in here some yarn by Julia, 9craft11, Molly, a Homespun House. And actually, now that I think about it, I think this one might be Molly's. I think that one's yours too as well, Molly. Because they're the only two I've got. They're the only two that I've used so far. Let me start again. They're the yarns I've used from fibre friends so far, from 2 people. Now, I have a wonderful collection. So this is my bag made by the wonderful Lotta that she made for me as part of our project bag swap in the Juniper Grace group. And in here, I've got stacked full all the yarns sent to me by wonderful people. And as part of it being a memories blanket, I keep the letters and the little tags from everyone. And as a few people have been doing, I think Danny from Little Bobbins, Julia is going to do it. I'm going to make a little book to go with the memory blankets. It's going to have everyone's cards that they send to accompany their yarn. So I'm going to go through that. And it's just so pretty. Oh, I got to show you again. And I love how it's a combination of solids and variegated, some self-patterning. Yay. So yes, a fun project. That is living, and there's more yarn in here. Some of that is my yarn, some is from other people. This is my gorgeous bag from Love Sock Wool on Etsy, and it's very cool, sort of old vintage, like a shopping catalogue sort of thing with children's designs. Very cute. Very perfect for a sock yarn blanket, I think. And I believe that's all I'm working on for the moment. Needle adjacent, I want to start some more socks, as I said, and as part of the 15 Socks in 2015 Ravelry group, we're going to have a Valentine's Day sock along that Anya has organised, and she's got a pattern, and I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's got like little love hearts on the top. So I'm definitely going to make those. I think I've got some Sybooks Craft Room earmarked for that one, so I'll show you back close to the time because that's a cast on for Valentine's Day. And other than that, I really want to get some of these works in progress finished because I then want to start what's next? Oh, Hito Fude. So I was going to do that last year and never got to it. And Jana was saying she would like to do it as well. So mid-February I'm hoping to cast on my Hito Fude. So that's one of my goals for this year as well, as part of all my wonderful cardigans that I'm going to be making for myself. And I also want to start knitting some dinosaurs for my nephew's birthday because his birthday's coming up in March. So that's what's going to be coming up soon. But for now, we've got some acquisitions, everyone. Now you may be thinking, how are there acquisitions, Melinda? You said you were going to shop your stash and not buy anything else. I did say that, but these are things that I bought last year in 2014 that have only just arrived, so yay. But on that, full disclosure, this is a safe space. I bought more yarn in 2015. I had a little slip up with my Etsy app. And as I was saying on Michelle's, in the Actually Knitting Ravelry group, she's got a thread, I think it's called Stash Down Throwdown. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. I was saying in there, when I bought the yarn, and it was like a Monday morning, it was one of those days where it just, you know, I was on the bus with my coffee going, ooh. Yeah, I felt really guilty, like really guilty. And then I sort of thought, that's silly, it's such a wasted emotion, because, you know, I'm not putting my family in poverty by doing so. Don't get me wrong, we need to conserve funds. We've got a lot of bills coming in this time of year. But yeah, so I've moved on from the guilt, but I am also using it as an impetus, like I don't need to buy anymore. Like I really have come to that point. There's still so much beautiful yarn out there. And as I said, I'm not going to not buy any yarn this year. That's, you know, unrealistic. But I had thought I'd make it more than 12 days into the year before I did. But that's okay. So when that comes, it will be beautiful. And I was considering making it into a colour affection shawl. So it does have, there's motivation into what it's going to be. So anyway, let's get rid of silly guilt. Obviously, we don't want to just go for our lives if there's things that we shouldn't be doing in terms of our finances or our space or whatever. But yes, let's not have silly guilt for things that, you know, life's too short. Let's move on. But anyway, the stash that I bought last year, where there was no problems at all. The first lot is from Laser Sheep Yarns. Now this I heard of on, I think it was either the Twisted Stitches podcast or the Stash and Burn podcast. I'm not sure which one it was because I've been listening to both of those recently, and they're both audio podcasts, both awesome. And the cool thing with Laser Sheep is they actually do 50-gram balls, so it's actually therefore quite, you know, even more reasonable. They're a good price regardless. But especially for someone like me where to knit my socks, never use even half a skein usually, depending on what they are. So to have 50 grams, I can probably get a pair of socks out of 50 grams or use them for something else. But I did get 2 reds because, why not? These ones are called, where are we? This is called Bad Sheep. And now I'll just wriggle forward so you can see. Each of the yarns come with a little badge with the sheep on it. So whatever the name of the sheep is. So this red is Bad Sheep. This beautiful black and purple, gorgeous, I love how it looks just like a stripe. This is called 9th Sheep, which is after the 9th Doctor on Doctor Who. I'm not a huge Doctor Who, sorry, I'll rephrase that. I do like Doctor Who, but I don't mind David Tennant, but I really liked it from Matt Smith. So he was the 11th Doctor, so I had to get the 11th Doctor. With the little fez, and that's his colours from his outfits. Again, not necessarily colours I like, but I love it in the context of it being the 11th Doctor. And yeah, not a fan of the 9th Doctor at all, but love the colour of the yarn. So in this case, the name of it worked, the colours worked. So, you know, whatever you need to buy, right? So got these 4, as I said, all 50-gram balls, and with the little badges, so that was very cool. So I got that. What else did I get? Oh, so many to choose from. Got some more Lorna's Laces Soulmate. Because as I said with Damien's socks, I've really enjoyed knitting with it. It's got that crispness to it. And I also really love the concept of it not being too hot, because we've got such a warm climate here in Perth. There's a few months of the year where it gets quite cold, but it wouldn't be cold compared to what a lot of people have in their winters, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. So there's no real need for really, really thick things. And I like to have in summer and spring like little shrugs and that sort of thing, and even shawls, but you don't want them too warm because I just wouldn't wear them. So the Soulmate is going to be really good. I've got the Catskills Cardi pattern, which the lovely Nina bought me last year. And I've gone blank, Mama Vertebrae that Rebecca, wrapped in wool, bought me recently. No, sorry, Westerly Whimsies. So I really want to make those with Soulmate. And last time I showed you, I have the bold red, and this time I got charcoal. It's coming out quite brown there, but it actually is a charcoal grey colour in the lovely Soulmate. And that was from Jimmy Bean's Wool. I also got my needles that I said I ordered last time when I just couldn't find my needles. So that's quite handy. I got 3.5mm and a 4mm, so they're in the Knitter's Pride Cubics. So I've got those. I made a special custom order request from White Birch Fibre Arts. They have donated us the beautiful yarn for the cow giveaway, and she does the beautiful stripes where it's sort of a gradiated colour stripe. What did I say it was? Like dynamic self-striping? Whatever it is. Anyway, so I sent her a picture and I said, could you do one? So I had thick red, thin light purple, thick red, thin dark purple, and she did. So this is it here. It's looking a little bit pinker than it is. That's actually a true red, and with the light and dark purple. And she's called the colourway Do We Not Bleed. Again, trust me. And it's just so beautiful. Actually, maybe I'll knit this for my Valentine's Day knit-along socks. Because it's a self-striping, I think I'd rather do a specific pattern. But I really want to cast this on. But because I was ordering that, you know, you've got to order more than one because you've got to get, you know, worthwhile shipping, don't you? So I also ordered this one, which is called Purple Haze. It's come undone and I can't do it up properly. This is very similar to the one we've got for our cow, and it's over there. That's why I'm pointing there. You can't see it. So that one is called Nothing Says Screw You Like a Rainbow, and it's the light blue with the rainbow stripe. So this one is Purple Haze. So it's got a rainbow stripe and then it has a pale purple stripe in between the rainbows. So it's very pretty. And I was watching the new Suburban Stitcher podcast last night, and as in the new episode, the podcast is not new. And Diane is going to be having a rainbow along, I think starting from February, but I think she said you could just start now. So I thought, ooh, that would be good for that. But I have promised Sophie some wrist warmers to match the socks I gave her for Christmas, which was in the Manic Pixie Manic Pixie Yarns. Manic Pixie Dream. I'll put it in the show notes. And that was with a black stripe and a rainbow stripe, and I gave her the socks for Christmas. There is some yarn left, so she'd like some wrist arm warmers. So I'm thinking, because I've promised those, I should probably make those first, and they'll count for the rainbow along. But then if there's time, I'll be using this one for me. So pretty. And the third one I got was this one. It's called Killer Bee. Killer Bee. That's how it's written, A-H, Killer. And so that's your black, grey and yellow. And it reminds me of Batman. Yeah. So I got those three pretties. I also got a Knit Picks order. So Jana was very kind enough to be my yarn mule again. So I had it sent to her and she sent it on to me. So I'm going to take them out of here because I've already wrapped them up. But I've got 2 each of that. So that's Sprinkle Heather and Duchess Heather. So just doing stroll fingering. Then this one, this is part of their brights. This is Vibrant Violet. So they had a whole lot in, you know, highlighter color neons, which is really not me. But this bright purple, it's coming out a bit more pink there. It's actually more of a fuchsia purple. And Mum loved that when she saw it. She's like, oh, I love that one. So Mum will get something from that one. And this is the Stroll Glimmer in the Peacock colorway. And you can sort of see it's got the stellina through it. When I saw that, it's so pretty. I thought, why didn't I get more of the glimmer one? So next up, because yeah, I really need more yarn. The initial reason I went on to Knit Picks at that time was when they had the Felici back up. And I missed most of the colours, but they had this colourway left. What was it? Sorbet. So I've got 3 of those. And these, if I end up making socks for my stepson's girlfriend, these, I'll be using this. But these will be good for a lot of things. So I got 3 of those. And while I was there, I got some Dishy, which is the 100% cotton in the worsted weight. And this is because I'd like to make some face washes or dishcloths. I don't know how my hands are going to go with the cotton because my arthritis, and I know a lot of people have trouble with cotton generally. But I'll give it a go. I can always, you know, have it as a project I pick up and put down. But I really would like to make some fish cloths. Yeah, let's make a fish cloth. Dishcloths or face washes. Because a friend of mine, her mum knits, and she actually goes to like op shops or thrift shops and gets I'm not sure what she does, if it's she just finds balls of yarn or she gets things and rips them out. But she actually makes dishcloths, and that's all she uses and all my friend uses. Just gives her a whole pile of them. That's what she uses in the kitchen all the time. So I'd really like to get to that, and I think face washes would be awesome as well, because I use one every morning when I wash my face. I've got a cream cleanser, wipe it off with a dry flannel, so it'd be awesome to have some homemade ones. And I think that's it for yarn. But I have one more, which is a beautiful bag. Sock monkeys with red polka dots. How cool is it for me? This is from the Silver Shed. So same place as this one. And inside it's got more of the beautiful red polka dots. And it's just so cute. I love sock monkeys generally, but as I mentioned last week, or last episode when I had the ampersand brooch, and there was my whole backstory of ampersand being the name of a monkey from a graphic novel and Damien's nickname being Monkey. So monkey. I like to draw connections to things, and that's why I buy them. But regardless of that, it's just so cute, isn't it? And Anne from the Silver Shed was so generous. She sent us the matching smaller bags. You can see this is the medium size with the trim. So it's not that different in size, just hasn't got the trim. And this is for us as a prize. So that will be in a future prize draw. We'll have another awesome bag. And as I survey the collection of wonder around me, I think that's it for all my acquisitions. Now, as I was saying in terms of my stash, that's all behind us. So I did have a photo on Instagram a couple of days ago, and you could see even more of the boxes. There are 12 of these red cubes behind us. I'll just pull one out. They're all pretty full. I think this is the Jinx drawer. Yes. So I've started out organising my stash, and it was one of my goals to get it all organised on Ravelry by the end of January. And I'm pretty much there. I think these main ones here are mostly organised, and the way I've done it is to put them in terms of dyers. Some boxes have just one dyer in them because I've got so much of that person's work. Whereas some where I've only got a few, there might be, you know, a few different ones in there depending. I've got one that's all self-strapping. I'm going to point it out, but it doesn't really matter, does it? One of those is self-strapping. And then of course it's all in Ravelry, so that way I'll just know, and I've got a little diagram I've made, and it's, you know, box 4 has Lorna's laces in it and whatever. So I know what, I could look on Ravelry for something, see what it is, and then I can look to my little map to see which box it's in. Actually, I think on Ravelry you can put where it's stored in, I think is one of the fields. So I can even put that in there, like, you know, box 5 or whatever. So yes, if you ever want to see my stash, it's all up there in Ravelry. Well, it's not all there yet. It's mostly up on Ravelry. But yes, I am not ashamed of my stash whatsoever. It is beautiful. Embrace the stash, I say. But it's also a place I can shop from because I've got so many beauties. And, oh, speaking of though, when I've been looking through, I found a few that I think I probably need to destash. So I've got a few things up for destash on Ravelry if you're interested. I've put pretty good prices in because it's just, you know, get it out there. And you just have to pay, obviously, the price of the yarn plus the shipping. If you're overseas, the shipping will obviously be a little bit more, but with the exchange rate, it's pretty good. I'm not trying to push my products onto you, but if you are in the market, you can go and have a look if you like. But I think that's everything. Yes, but there's still a few more parcels to come of things that I ordered last year, plus this year's purchase. So we will still have a few more acquisition segments to go. And I think even after that, maybe I'll just show you some of my stash as well so that we can just look at pretty things. What's spinning me right round at the moment mostly is knitting podcasts. What a surprise. Thank you very much to everyone who put suggestions for new audio podcasts from last week or last episode. As I had asked for, that's awesome. I'm still making my way through the list. And I've had a few people invite me to groups for their new podcasts themselves, or their podcasts, they're not all new. So thank you very much for that. So I'm still making my way through all of them. So if I don't mention you today, that's just because I haven't seen or listened to you yet. But I've got to check my list because I have to tell you through all of them. So First off, very exciting, the Hungriest Knitter is back. So Rachel, who's Rachel Lindsay, she had, what was she calling it, a dramatic pause in between episodes, but she's back, so that's awesome, Rachel. Great to see you again. So that's the Hungriest Knitter, and Rachel tells us not only about her knitting but also about things that she's making, some recipes, so that's very cool. I mentioned earlier Rebecca, who's Westerly Whimsies, and I accidentally called her Wrapped in Wool. The reason I said that is because that's the name of her podcast, and she's actually from Australia, but she now lives in the US, so she is recording and podcasting from there. So that's a great audio podcast. Jeanette has the Bookish Stitcher video podcast, which is very awesome, and as the title suggests, she talks about some books as well as her knitting. I've also started the Savvy Girls audio podcast, and I've gone blank as to the girls' names, so apologies, ladies. But that's very funny. They're sisters, and they, very funny rapport together. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been listening to Stash and Burn. I'm going through the back episodes of that. And also Twisted Stitches, who is Kimberly and Twee. Stash and Burn, sorry, is Nicole and Jenny. And Twisted Stitches is Kimberly and Twee. And I believe they're up to episode 9 or episode 10. They're both audio podcasts, and great listens as well. So check all those out. As I said, thank you to everyone for your suggestions and your invitations. And I'll let you know of anything else next time as well. Okay, I think that's it for today. I'm going to go and turn the air conditioning on after I've recorded this because it's getting really hot. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I think we're expecting 38 Celsius, which I think is over 100 Fahrenheit. So it's going to be a warm one today. I actually got up this morning at just before 7 and actually went for a walk. Who am I? No, I'm trying to do more exercise and be healthier, but yeah, in this hot weather, it's really hard. And I guess for people in very cold weather at the moment, it's very hard. But yes, we need to push ourselves. Health is important. So that was my morning, and now I'm going to go and relax in the air conditioning and do some knitting. I'm going to fix those socks, people. Keep me on task. You can find the show notes to this podcast at www.yarnderwoman.blogspot.com.au. You can also find me on Ravelry and Instagram as YarnderWoman. Now with Instagram, I have my account set to private, and if you request me, if I can see that you're a crafter, then I'll accept you. But there's been a few recently that have come through and it just has a person's name and they're private as well, so I can't see any of their posts and there's nothing in their name to indicate that they're a crafter, so I've actually declined those. So if that was any knitters or crocheters out there, I do apologise. It's not that I'm rejecting you. It's just sometimes I get requests from people, it's all a bit weird and nothing to do with knitting or crafting, and so if I can't see that you're a crafter, then I won't be accepting it. So just to let you know that. I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks till we see each other again. I hope you can deal with whatever weather you're having in your area. Have a wonderful week, have a wonderful day, and happy crafting. Bye.